I got the call from Detective Morrison on a Thursday afternoon. "Ms. Chen, we need you to come down to the station. It's about your brother." I assumed it was bail money. Another DUI maybe? Another bar fight. Another mess I'd have to clean up because that's what older sisters did. But when I walked into that station and saw two men in suits standing next to the detective, I knew this was different. "I'm Special Agent Torres," one of them said. "FBI. We need to talk about insurance fraud." That's when I learned my brother had reported my car stolen 8 months ago. My car. The one I'd bought and paid off. The one I thought had been stolen from my apartment complex. The one I'd grieved over because it had been my first real purchase as an adult. He'd reported it stolen, collected $22,000 from insurance, and had been hiding it in his girlfriend's garage ever since. The FBI found out when an anonymous tip led them to the car. The anonymous tip was me. I just didn't know it at the time. Let me take you back, because this story isn't about a car or insurance money. It's about learning that blood doesn't mean loyalty, and sometimes the people closest to you will steal everything you have and expect you to stay quiet. If you've ever been betrayed by family so completely that you had to choose between them and justice, if you've ever discovered that someone you loved was capable of something unforgivable, this story is for you. My brother Marcus was 2 years younger. Growing up, I protected him, covered for him when he got in trouble, lent him money I knew I'd never see again, made excuses to our parents for his behavior. He was the wild one. The one who partied too hard, made bad decisions, dated worse women. I was the responsible one. The one with the steady job, the savings account, the plan. We balanced each other out. Or at least that's what I told myself. After college, I got a job in accounting. Nothing glamorous but stable, good salary, benefits. I saved carefully. At 26, I bought my first car with my own money, a Honda Accord. 3 years old, low mileage, pristine condition, $22,000. I paid cash. No loan, no debt. Just my money, my car, my achievement. I was so proud. Took photos of myself with it. Posted on social media. Showed everyone. My first real adult purchase. Evidence that I was building something. Marcus was 24 then, working odd jobs, living with various girlfriends, always between situations, always needing help. I'd lent him probably $5,000 over the years. Never saw a penny back. But he was my brother. Family. That's what family did. 2 years after I bought the car, it disappeared. I walked out of my apartment one morning and my parking spot was empty. Just gone. I called the police. Filed a report. They said car theft was common in the area, probably taken for parts or shipped overseas. Insurance would cover it, but I should prepare to never see it again. I was devastated. Not just about the money, about what it represented. My independence, my success, my proof that I could do this alone. Insurance paid out $22,000. I used it to buy another car. A used Toyota this time. Cheaper. Practical. I'd learned that nice things could disappear. Better to have something reliable than something special. Life moved on. The Honda became a memory. A loss I'd processed and filed away. 8 months later, I was at Marcus's girlfriend Brianna's house for her birthday party. First time I'd been there. They'd been dating about a year. She seemed nice enough. Better than his usual choices. Her house was small but cute. A ranch with a detached garage in the back. During the party, I walked outside to get some air. Passed by the garage. The door was open a crack. Something caught my eye. A familiar shade of blue. The exact blue of my Honda. I stopped. Told myself it was coincidence. Lots of cars were that color. But something made me look closer. I pulled the garage door open a few more inches. My heart stopped. There it was. My Honda Accord. Same year. Same color. Same small dent on the rear bumper that I'd never gotten fixed. Same everything. In my brother's girlfriend's garage. 8 months after it was stolen. I stood there for maybe 5 minutes, just staring, trying to make sense of it. The sun was setting behind the house, casting long shadows across the driveway. Inside, I could hear music playing, people laughing, the clink of glasses. A normal party. A normal evening. Except I was standing in front of a garage containing my supposedly stolen car. Had Brianna bought it somehow? Had someone stolen it and sold it and she'd unknowingly purchased it? There had to be an explanation that made sense, something other than what my gut was screaming. Then I looked at the license plate. Different than mine. New plates, registered to someone else probably, but when I walked around to the front, cupping my hands against the windshield to see inside, I saw the VIN number on the dashboard. 17 characters. I'd memorized that number when I bought the car, had looked at it 100 times during the purchase process. Still knew it by heart. I whispered it to myself as I read, matching, every digit, every letter. This was my car, in my brother's girlfriend's garage, with new plates. 8 months after it was reported stolen. I took photos. My hands were shaking so badly the first few came out blurry. I steadied myself against the garage door. Took pictures of the car from every angle, the plates, the VIN number visible through the windshield, the dent on the rear bumper, the small scratch on the passenger door that I'd gotten in a parking lot, the garage itself, with Brianna's gardening tools on the shelf and her bicycle hanging on the wall. Evidence? I didn't know what I'd do with it yet, but I knew I needed it. Then I closed the garage door, stood there another minute, breathing, trying to calm down. Then I went back inside, found Marcus. He was laughing with some friends, drinking a beer, looking happy. I walked up to him. "Can I talk to you outside?" He followed me, still smiling. "What's up, sis? Why is my car in Brianna's garage?" His face changed. The smile died. Something flickered in his eyes. Fear? Calculation? What are you talking about? My Honda, the one that was stolen. It's in the garage. I saw it. I took pictures. He grabbed my arm. Hard. "Keep your voice down." I pulled away. "What did you do, Marcus?" The truth came out in pieces. He'd taken my car, had a copy of my spare key from when I'd let him borrow it once, drove it to Brianna's in the middle of the night, reported it stolen himself using my insurance information. He'd forged my signature on the claim, collected the $22,000, used it to pay off his debts, buy things for Brianna, fund his lifestyle for 8 months. He'd been planning to sell the car eventually, but hadn't gotten around to it. Figured nobody would ever know. "You filed a false police report," I said. "You committed insurance fraud. You stole from me. Do you understand what you've done?" "It's just insurance money," he said. "They're a big company. They don't miss it." "It's a federal crime," I said. "Insurance fraud is a felony, and you forged my signature. That's identity theft." He looked annoyed, like I was overreacting. "You got your money from insurance. You bought another car. What's the big deal?" The big deal. I stood there looking at my brother. The person I'd protected my whole life. The person I'd lent money to, made excuses for. Loved despite everything. He'd stolen my car, committed fraud in my name, and was asking what the big deal was. "You're going to give me the car back," I said, "and return the insurance money." "I don't have $22,000, he said. I spent it. Then you're going to figure it out. Or I'm going to the police. He laughed. Actually, laughed. You're not going to turn in your own brother. Come on. We're family. You stole from me, I said. You committed crimes using my identity. And you hid my car for 8 months while I thought it was gone forever. That's not family. That's betrayal. It's a car, he said. Get over it. I left the party, drove home in my Toyota, sat in my apartment for 3 hours, thinking. He was my brother. I'd protected him my whole life. But this was different. This wasn't covering for a bad grade or a missed curfew. This was felony insurance fraud. Identity theft. He'd used my name, my signature, my insurance. If this ever came out, my name would be attached to it. I could be implicated, investigated, damaged. I called a lawyer the next morning, explained the situation. She was clear. You need to protect yourself. If you knew about this and didn't report it, you could be seen as complicit. Insurance fraud is serious, federal serious. Your best option is to report what you know and cooperate fully. I spent a week thinking about it. Marcus called twice, left voicemails saying we should talk, that he could explain, that I was overreacting. I didn't call back. Couldn't. Every time I thought about him, I saw that car in the garage, saw his face when he asked what the big deal was, saw all the years I'd protected him collapsing into this moment where he'd stolen from me and expected me to be okay with it. I didn't go to the police directly. I couldn't do that to him, but I couldn't do nothing either. I called my insurance company's fraud hotline, reported anonymously that I had information about a fraudulent claim, gave them the details, the VIN number, the location of the car, the name on the policy. Everything they needed without giving my name. Then I waited. 3 months later, Detective Morrison called, asked me to come to the station. That's where I met the FBI agents. Insurance fraud over $10,000 is a federal crime. My anonymous tip had triggered an investigation. They'd found the car, traced the plates, connected it to Marcus, found evidence of the forged signature, the fake police report. Everything. We know you made the tip, Agent Torres said. Not accusatory, just stating fact. Your phone number was logged even though you didn't give your name. We traced it. I didn't deny it. He's my brother, I said. I didn't want to press charges directly, but I couldn't let it go. We understand, he said. You're not in trouble. You're a victim. We just need your cooperation to prosecute. They showed me the evidence they'd gathered. Marcus had been sloppy, used his own computer to research how to file false insurance claims, texted Brianna about the car situation multiple times, had receipts for things he'd bought with the insurance money. The case was solid. He was going to be arrested. What happens now? I asked. We arrest him, Agent Torres said. He'll be charged with insurance fraud, filing a false police report, and identity theft. Federal charges plus state charges. He's looking at potential prison time. Prison. My little brother, the one I'd protected all those years, going to prison because he stole my car and thought he'd get away with it. I need you to understand something, I said. I don't want to see him go to prison, but I also can't cover for him. He stole from me, used my identity, and when I confronted him, he told me to get over it. That's not someone who's sorry. That's someone who thinks he can do whatever he wants without consequences. That's not your decision to make, the agent said. The charges are federal. We're moving forward regardless, but your testimony will help. Marcus was arrested 2 weeks later, at work, in front of his coworkers. The FBI doesn't do subtle. He called me from jail. How could you do this to me? He said. You're my sister. You stole my car, I said. You committed fraud in my name. You hid it for 8 months, and when I found out, you told me to get over it. How could you do that to me? It was just money, he said. Insurance money. Nobody got hurt. I got hurt, I said. My identity was used for fraud. My name is attached to this. And I had to find my own car in your girlfriend's garage. That hurt. So you turned me in, he said. To the FBI. I reported a crime, I said. You committed that crime. That's not me turning you in. That's consequences. He hung up. I sat there holding the phone, crying. Not because I regretted it, because I'd finally accepted that my brother was someone who would steal from me and expect me to protect him anyway, and I couldn't be that person anymore. The trial happened 8 months later. Federal courthouse downtown, wood paneling, American flags, the weight of the justice system in every corner. I testified on day 2, sat in the witness box and looked at my brother across the room. He was thinner than I remembered, wearing a suit that didn't fit right. Looking at me with something between anger and pleading, I identified my car from photos, confirmed the VIN number, confirmed my signature on the insurance claim was forged, explained how I'd found the car at Brianna's house during her birthday party, described the confrontation with Marcus. His words. It's just money. Get over it. The prosecutor asked how I felt when I found the car. I said betrayed, like the ground had opened up, like everything I thought I knew about my family was wrong. Marcus's lawyer tried to paint me as vindictive during cross-examination, said I was angry about old debts, that Marcus and I had a complicated history, that maybe I'd set him up, given him the key, planned this whole thing to frame him, asked if I had financial problems, if I'd wanted the insurance money for myself, if this was all a scheme that backfired. I answered calmly, no, no, no. I loved my brother. I'd protected him his whole life. I'd never in a million years imagined he'd do something like this. The jury didn't buy his lawyer's theory. The evidence was overwhelming. Texts between Marcus and Brianna discussing the car situation. Computer searches on his laptop for how to file insurance claim and how to change car plates. The car itself still sitting in that garage with my VIN number when the FBI executed their search warrant. Bank records showing deposits matching the insurance payout. Receipts for things he'd bought with the money. He was convicted on all counts: insurance fraud, filing a false police report, identity theft, wire fraud because the insurance payment went through electronic transfer, 4 federal charges, 3 state charges, guilty on all of them. Sentencing was 3 months after that. I didn't attend, couldn't watch, but I got the transcript later. The judge talked about trust, about family, about how Marcus had violated both, about how insurance fraud drives up costs for everyone, about how using his sister's identity made it worse. Insurance fraud carries up to 5 years federal. Identity theft adds more. Filing a false police report is a state charge with its own penalties. Marcus got 4 years, federal prison, 4 years because he thought stealing from his sister was no big deal. My parents blamed me. Of course they did. Called me cold, heartless, vindictive. Said I'd destroyed the family over a car. That Marcus made a mistake, a stupid mistake, and I should have forgiven him. That going to the FBI was excessive. That I'd ruined his life. That he'd never recover from this. That I'd taken their son away from them. I told them I didn't go to the FBI. I made an anonymous tip to insurance. The FBI came because what he did was serious. Federal serious. Wire fraud. Identity theft. These aren't parking tickets. These are felonies that carry years in prison because they're serious crimes. Not my fault he committed federal crimes. Not my fault the system worked exactly as it's supposed to. They didn't want to hear it. My mother cried. Said I'd always been jealous of Marcus, that I'd wanted to see him fail. My father said I should have come to him first. Let the family handle it. Asked what kind of sister turns in her own brother. The kind whose car got stolen, I said. The kind whose identity got used for fraud. The kind who found her own property hidden in a garage while her brother spent the insurance money on his girlfriend. They stopped talking to me after that. For 6 months, nothing. Then a birthday card. Then a Christmas call. Surface level now. We talk about weather and work. Never about Marcus. Never about what happened. The wound is still open. Might never close. I got my car back eventually. The original Honda. After the trial concluded and the evidence was no longer needed, the FBI released it. It had been sitting in that garage for over a year at that point. Then in an impound lot for months more. Still in decent condition mechanically. Brianna had apparently started it occasionally to keep the battery from dying. Thoughtful of her. I sold it within a week. Couldn't drive it. Every time I looked at it, I saw that garage. Saw Marcus's face when he asked what the big deal was. Saw everything I'd lost that wasn't about the car at all. Used the money to pay off my student loans. The last of them. At least something good came from it. Kept the Toyota. It was reliable. Didn't carry the weight of what happened. Just a car. Nothing more. It's been 3 years since the trial. Marcus has 2 years left on his sentence. Federal prison in Pennsylvania. 4 hours from home. I've never visited. He writes sometimes. He sends letters sometimes. Angry ones at first. Blaming me. Saying I ruined his life. Then sadder ones. Saying he's sorry. That prison changed him. That he understands now what he did was wrong. I read them. Don't respond. Not ready. Might never be. My parents and I have minimal contact. Christmas cards, birthday calls, surface level. They still think I overreacted. That family should protect family no matter what. I think family shouldn't steal from family in the first place. We disagree. Probably always will. I'm 32 now. Still in accounting. Got promoted twice since everything happened. Own a small condo. Have savings. A retirement account. A life I built myself. Honestly, without taking from anyone. Without committing crimes. Without expecting others to cover for me. Just work and discipline and doing things the right way. Do I regret making that call? No. Marcus made his choices. He stole my car. Committed fraud. Used my identity. And when confronted, showed no remorse. Said it was just money, just insurance. No big deal. Those aren't the words of someone who made a mistake. Those are the words of someone who thought he was entitled to take whatever he wanted from whoever he wanted, including his own sister. The FBI knocked on his door because he committed federal crimes. Not because I wanted revenge. Not because I'm heartless. Because actions have consequences. Even for family. Especially for family. If the people closest to you think they can steal from you without consequence, they'll never stop. Marcus learned that lesson in federal prison. I learned it standing in a garage looking at a car I thought I'd never see again. If you've ever had family steal from you and expect you to stay quiet, this is for you. If you've ever had to choose between protecting someone and protecting yourself, this is for you. If you've ever been called heartless for refusing to be a victim, this is for you. You're not required to cover for people who hurt you. You're not required to protect people who steal from you. You're not required to sacrifice your integrity for someone else's crimes. Family means something, but it doesn't mean everything. It doesn't mean accepting betrayal. It doesn't mean being complicit in fraud. It doesn't mean staying silent while someone uses your name to commit crimes. Marcus found out when the FBI knocked. I found out standing in that garage. We both learned something. Just different lessons. Tell me in the comments, has family ever stolen from you and expected you to protect them? Did you stay silent or speak up? I read every story. And if you want more stories about people who refused to be victims even when it meant losing family, subscribe. Sometimes the knock on the door is justice arriving late. Sometimes you're the one who has to open it. My brother stole my car and collected $22,000. He's paying for it now. 4 years at a time. That's not revenge, that's accountability. And I sleep fine, knowing the difference.